Are you aware that a gospel is prohibited from the Bible, which denies the existence of sin? The true leader was meant to be Mary Magdalene, following Jesus. This old book, nearly forgotten by time, contains the key to getting out of the reality we live in. The Gospel of Mary was outlawed by the early church, Magdalene because of its potent lessons. There is a lot more to life than we acknowledge. This has more to do with religion than just knowing the environment we live in a completely new method, and once you understand the reality, there's no returning. Everything will become suspect to you, and the true journey starts at that point. Within the book, the 3 volunteer waves and regressionist Dolores Cannon of the New Earth hypnotists discuss how specific souls, volunteers, have arrived on Earth to provide assistance. Humanity is becoming more aware of and moving towards a more sublime and spiritual world. This links the notion of previous lifetimes, reincarnation and their ultimate goal souls who volunteered. It is related to the idea of getting away from the content world in which occult spiritual wisdom is the transcendental key. Returning to the late 1800s, let's see how a German researcher discovered something remarkable at an Egyptian excavation. In the arid remains of the historic city of Oxyrhynchus, discovered pieces of a manuscript that will be referred to as the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. These were not your typical papers. Rather, they included information that could change the way we think, concerning the world, religion, and life itself. As additional pieces are found over time, academics started assembling this missing gospel, similar to a puzzle. They did more than just hide Mary's gospel. Magdalene, but it was also outlawed. The lessons within were so divisive that they endangered the very basis of the power of the church. Their goal was to continue having authority over who trusted, as well as Mary Magdalene's gospel. Leaving the material world, disputed such authority by claiming that salvation didn't originate from naive belief, but rather from information. Not just any knowledge, but secret knowledge, empowering information that might enable you to the physical realm and uncover a more profound spiritual veracity. If individuals thought they didn't require the church in order to be saved, and so they could discover their own route by realizing the hidden knowledge of the world, the church's authority would disintegrate. As a result, there was outlawed and nearly destroyed. Gospel. Not until the latter part of the 1800s did components of it were found again, and it wasn't entirely. Research continued much into the 20th century. There is much to learn from this lost gospel. The physical world is in good health. In this story, Jesus emphasizes that all we observe and experience are related and comes from the same place, and eventually it will all come back to that origin. In a world that frequently seems unclear and frantic, this instruction can be quite inspiring. It indicates that everything is beneath the surface, is a component of a larger picture, and by realizing this, we are able to surpass the delusions that confine us, imprisoned in pain, ignorance, and terror. The notion that the physical universe is merely a construct is more than simply a philosophical idea. It's something contemporary science, more especially quantum mechanics, is starting to investigate. Researchers have found that, at the smallest, unfortunately, reality doesn't always act as we would like it to, ought to. It seems like energy is the basis for everything, waves and vibrations in place of solid stuff. Even the creator of quantum theory, Max Planck, remarked, "Matter does not exist in and of itself. Everything is created and exists only by virtue of a power." The notion that the physical universe is merely a transient delusion and the location of genuine reality, something both old and hidden, lies beyond what is visible. Modern science and wisdom appear to agree on this. It suggests that you can get over your fear and perplexity of day-to-day living. It indicates that there is a route to something more substantial and genuine. Mary Magdalene's Gospel is comparable to a map that helps us to connect and break free from this delusion with existence's actual nature. There was a rigid hierarchy in the early church. It was unimaginable for a woman to lead it. Men did. Mary Magdalene's significance in the teachings of Jesus to be in a position of power, much less spiritual guidance. The Gospel claims that Mary Magdalene, not it was Peter, and not any of the other male disciples, who genuinely comprehended what Jesus taught. In fact, Mary had the duty to direct the disciples after Jesus left. Mary is portrayed in this Gospel as a spiritual mentor, someone to whom Jesus confided his most intimate secrets. The early church would have been rocked by that alone. Its center, however, it goes farther still. According to this Gospel, salvation has nothing to do with obeying authorities or religious precepts. Finding your own spiritual path is the key, and realizing what's true inside of you. The Church maintained its position of authority by the sole path to redemption. This Gospel completely contradicts such notion by arguing that you don't require an intermediary. You possess the ability to comprehend the truth. The Gospel's assertion that there is no sin is striking. Give that some thought. Jesus tells his followers that the idea of sin is only a means of manipulating people via dread and guilt. How groundbreaking was that concept, you ask? When the Church utilized sin as its principal tool for upholding authority. This poses a direct challenge to the manipulation of adherents based on faith. The Church fostered dread in people for ages. Individuals, by asserting they were born with sin and could only be saved by rigorous submission to religious authorities. The Gospel refutes that notion, highlighting individual accountability and spiritual wisdom as an alternative. It demonstrates that humans are neither fundamentally defective or sinful, but not realizing who we really are is what prevents us from escaping our misery. The Gospel clarifies the manner in which early church women. One of the text's most impactful passages arises when Mary divulges to Jesus the secret knowledge included her in the group of disciples. Mary is rejected by Peter because he cannot see her as their commander, as he struggles to accept that Jesus would have imparted such deep knowledge to a female. Peter's response illustrates how patriarchal beliefs prevalent at the time, where women were viewed as inferior entities that were incapable of holding spiritual leadership. Mary, though, doesn't give up. She is unwavering in her comprehension, and one of Levi, one of the other disciples, stands forward to defend her, emphasizing that if Jesus chose her, then nobody is allowed to reject her. This passage in the Quran offers a pointed criticism of the Church's male-dominated hierarchy. It illustrates how gender is not a limiting factor. Spiritual discernment, and that comprehension, not the foundation of great leadership, is hierarchy. If you think it's worthwhile to reveal these secret truths and delving into the enigmas surrounding the universe, you can advance by demonstrating your assistance. To assist me, please click the Super Thanks button below. Keep producing material that explores the subjects they would want you not to know about. The differing opinion. There is no sin. This Gospel also conforms to contemporary criticisms of orthodoxy in religion. Particularly the manner belief systems can be used by institutions to hold on to power. Many people are starting to doubt conventional religious doctrines throughout time, acknowledging their employ to impose authority and terror rather than encouraging real spiritual development. This Gospel's message strikes a deep chord with people looking for a direct, more intimate relationship to the divine, without requiring a strict, patriarchal structure dictating their way of life. This Gospel challenges us to consider spirituality, a fresh manner to challenge authority, and to acknowledge that we are capable of discovering our own route to the truth. It's an exhortation to abandon the institutions that impede us, and to accept the notion that spiritual understanding is available to every one of us, regardless of who we are. Though it might come as a surprise, the concepts in this actually almost forgotten texts appear to contain some of the most intricate quantum theories physics in the modern day. It appears as though this age-old knowledge predated its period, providing understandings that science is only starting to confirm now. Particles can, in accordance with quantum mechanics, exist in two places at the same time, converse instantly across long distances, might even modify their actions in response to the whether there is observation. It appears as though reality is malleable, molded by awareness and interpretation. Many contemporary physicists, such as David Bohm, have stated that there's a chance the cosmos is a massive network of interconnected energy, what he known as the implicated adder. He suggests that there is a basic bond that links everything in the cosmos, as well as how we understand it, distinct things, and occurrences is only a mirror of this more comprehensive, deeper reality. This confirms Mary's assertion that everything is linked, coming from the same place, and finally going back to it. The relationship between spirituality and science is more than a coincidence. It demonstrates that reality is not as simple as it seems. Both domains indicate a secret, fundamental reality that, in light of our limited understanding, senses, and the Gospel of Mary precisely states this, instructs that by using information and knowing, we are able to go beyond the delusions of ancient wisdom and modern science, collide the physical realm, and access the more profound, the beyond realm. An more intriguing connection between traditional wisdom and consciousness is the concept of modern science. This gospel implies that awareness, our knowledge and comprehension, are essential for solving the universe's riddles. This is quite similar to what some quantum today physicists are investigating. Individuals such as Erwin Schrödinger, another trailblazer according to quantum theory, awareness may be the universe's fundamental force, as opposed to matter. He went so far as to say that everything we encounter as consciousness produces reality on its own. It implies that Mary's traditional teachings not only were Magdalene's spiritual allegories, but they were perhaps a window into the actual nature of reality which science has just now starting to investigate. This meeting point of spirituality and science offers us a fresh viewpoint on the world and demonstrates that the knowledge from the past could include the keys to unlocking the riddles of the modern world. Evidence from both science and spirituality indicates that the physical world is not everything, thus there's still more to discover about the cosmos. The distinctions that we believe exist between science and religion, the spiritual and the material, are becoming more hazy, which creates endless opportunities. From the Gospel of Mary's covert lessons Magdalene to the innovative findings of one thing is certain about current science. Our perception of the world is limited to its surface. Below it is a more profound reality, one that links all things together, and one that we possess the ability to access if we look for the understanding. If you've learnt anything by revealing these obscure truths and delving into the enigmas surrounding the universe, you may go farther with it by demonstrating your backing. Please click the Super Thanks button below to assist me. Keep producing material that delves deeply into the subjects they would prefer you remain ignorant of. Your assistance not only keeps these influential concepts keeping the knowledge alive, but also contributes to those who are prepared to recognize the greater image. The takeaway from Mary Magdalene's Gospel is quite revolutionary, especially by today's norms. It takes on the systems of power head-on, questions the boundaries of our knowledge, and modifies our self-perception in the overall scheme of things. the strength of self-awareness and consciousness. By demonstrating that the physical universe is only an illusion and that real salvation originates elsewhere, blind trust or submission, but from personal knowledge from within, this gospel provides a route to genuine spiritual freedom. It exhorts us to overcome our worries, social norms, as well as psychological obstacles that maintain us bound to a typical constrained existence, caught up in delusional loops. This is made even more convincing by the fact that the science's most recent findings are just now starting to reflect this age-old knowledge. Upon further exploration of quantum mechanics, we are discovering that the cosmos is not a solid, predictable location as we previously believed. It is chock full of enigmas, links, and an overpowering feeling that reality formed by awareness. Spirituality and science have long been seen as now that opposites are convergent. It is evident that they are the two halves of a single coin. Both of them direct us towards a greater reality. The cosmos is much more flexible, intelligent and sophisticated, driven than we had anticipated. Hearing these concepts, nevertheless, is insufficient. In order to fully understand them, we have to go beyond listening without actively participating. We must intentionally delve underneath the obvious surface of our daily lives, challenge the beliefs we've consistently presumptively accurate, and investigate our own awareness. It entails having the courage to look for the truth, even if it upends the fundamental basis of what we believe to be true. This information-seeking endeavor is not limited to intellectual comprehension. It's a call to introspection and personal growth. Expansion. Mary Magdalene's teachings are utilized as an appeal for individual empowerment. They inspire us to set out on our own distinctive traveler's path to enlightenment. As science advances these antiquated concepts, demonstrating how reality is more enigmatic and more entwined than we could have ever predicted, the chance to escape the limitations of the physical world is now at our fingertips. In actuality, you have the ability to change your world, begins within of you. While the physical world appears stable and concluding words, accepting spiritual liberty unalterable, the more profound reality is that we have the ability to overcome it, to comprehend the deep relationships underlying everything, as well as to unleash the mind's enormous potential. As discoveries coincide with the wisdom of the past, from here on forth, a fresh perspective on life is taking shape in front of us. The journey is just getting started. There are countless ways to learn more, and the journey to discover who you really are has just begun. I appreciate you seeing. Join us by becoming a subscriber to this channel. Till the subsequent video.